Has anyone in Japan ever brought up pitch accents to you in casual conversation? Never, not even in advanced conversation. Your Japanese friend who told you that pitch accent is very important for Japanese? Retro Nick, I grew up in Japan. Sorry, I never heard about it. I knew Misa was gonna do well, and I knew Miku was gonna do well because they're really good at what they do. Dogen had a very good presentation. I have watched a bunch of videos on, I watched Dogen and this other girl and even Amo Misa talking about pitch accent. And the more I watch, the more I think it's stupid. It's adding a layer of complexity that even Japanese people don't know. I don't think it helps. The only people that are gonna get very, very bad pitch accent are people that never ever listened to Japanese or never heard a native speaker say it when they were learning. You don't need to learn that this is Nakadaka and this is Odaka and all these names that they give it. Look, I'm not trying to throw shade, but I'm gonna throw a little bit of shade. I watched Dogen's video. He's like, Ototo ga, and the ga has to go down. I'm like, oh. And the other one where the wa goes down. I'm like, no, it goes up. It's not going down. Otosan wa. Like often Japanese people bring the particle up because that's where the stress is, right? Watashi wa kono mae tomodachi no tokoro ni itta n da kedo. Yeah, there is ups and downs, but if you start applying the 4 types of pitch accent onto things, you're gonna literally explode as a human being. You will freaking die. Why even do that? Now, is it beneficial if there's a word that you've been messing up and you've been using it in Japanese and you're finding out that it's not working? Then maybe you go, wait, maybe I'm missing the pitch accent. You know, it's good to know. But you know, Amo Misa, right? Her example was hana ga kirai, right? And she said, oh, this could be I dislike noses or I dislike flowers. And the disingenuity, it's so disingenuine because that's not how Japanese people speak. No Japanese person who dislikes their nose would ever say hana ga kirai. They would never say it. You know what they would say? Jibun no hana ga kirai. I dislike my nose. That's why it's stupid. Oh, I get so angry at people overcomplicating a language that's already complicated enough. It's like, there's always going to be context number 1 and more words surrounding the word, right? If you say hana ga kirai, you don't just say that out of the blue. It's either someone brought flowers in and you go, hana ga kirai, and no Japanese person on earth would ever go, wait, do you mean you dislike your nose or do you don't like the flowers that just arrived? Now, is there a place for pitch accent? Yes, of course. NHK announcers all have to learn this sort of thing. Your average Japanese person never thinks about it. And as a foreigner, you having a slightly different accent is absolutely expected, and it's going to be the way of the world. I definitely have a different accent. I'm a foreigner. I didn't grow up from a baby in Japan. I learned it from age 12, right? So these people that are trying to get perfect accents, whatever floats your boat. But for the average person, please don't add that to your plate. Do not add that to your plate. Your Japanese friend who told you that pitch accent is very important for Japanese? Retro Nick, I grew up in Japan. Sorry, I never heard about it. I don't even know how to say it in Japanese. I don't even know how to say pitch accent. It's cho something, but I don't know. Hencho, maybe? I don't know. Like, I never heard it. I grew up in Japan. I was in language contests. My teacher never taught it to me. But again, that's a fallacy. Just because I haven't learned it doesn't mean it's not important. It is important in some areas, but 999 people out of 1,000 do not need this. They're struggling with when to use particles. Now they're adding the complexity of Chinese tones into a language that isn't exactly tonal. If I say to you, ashita, are you going to say ashita? If I say to you, konnichiwa, are you going to say konnichiwa? You're not going to do that because you've never heard that. Now, Dogen would have been good at Japanese regardless. Matt versus Japan would have been good at Japanese regardless. Even Ajat Katsumoto is good at Japanese regardless. I never studied pitch accent. Guess what? I'm good at Japanese regardless. If you listen to the Japanese, it has a sound and you imitate it. You don't have to spend all of this time adding mathematics to a language. I mean, as I was watching it, I thought, okay, yeah, this seems interesting. Imoto, right? Ototo. It was interesting for me to watch it. I thought, okay, There's validity there. But is it worth the delay in getting fluent in Japanese? Absolutely not. Because you're going to get good in Japanese over time. Here's a good example. I had Tohoku dialect, which by the way, has completely different pitch accent. I was in Tohoku and I had Tohoku accent when I came back to America. And Kansai area has different ways that they pitch things. And Tokyo has different ways that they pitch things. They're all different. There's this blend throughout the country. There's different pitching, right? This is why an NHK announcer needs to learn pitch accent, because they might come from a different part of the country and they need to be able to speak standard Japanese for the news. That you don't want to have a, how you doing, welcome to, But I had a very, very Tohoku dialect from the Tohoku area, but it corrected. I don't have it anymore. If I have anything, I probably, when I'm speaking privately, I'm doing more of a Kansai dialect because of my wife. So if you are living Japanese and learning Japanese for the long haul, don't waste your effort on this pitch accent unless you really got to work on a word. Language is a tool to communicate, not an art to perfect. These people that want to perfect it, you know what? Then they're artists. Dogen is an artist. Matt versus Japan is an artist. Japanese Amo Misa, she shouldn't be teaching pitch accent. I think sometimes, this is my secret theory. Okay, I don't think it's intentional. I think some teachers teach you hard things to make you rely on them. I think it happens. I don't know if it's, like I said, I don't think it's like someone's going, oh, if I make this really difficult. No. Another thing teachers do is they do teacher masturbation. That's what I call it. It's self-pleasure by showing you how good they grasp a concept that no one needs to know. It's like, well, actually, blah, 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 blah. It's that kind of thing. It's like, and I've seen it on TV shows where they're showing super complicated English. It was on Korean TV, and they were showing like the stupidest English I've ever seen, and it was super advanced. But no one even in America would use that level of speaking, right? We just don't speak that way. But she knew it, and it looked cool, and it makes the students feel inferior. And one of my jobs is to never make you feel inferior. It's to get you through Japanese. It's to get you to, it's to pull you up in a way that you won't feel like you're being pulled up, and in a way that you won't feel like you're dying. Like, oh my God, I thought Japanese was gonna be easy. Now I'm gonna learn pitch accent? Bitch accent. Yes, I did say bitch accent. I did. Look, I want to say this just so that no one's confused. I respect all the people that are teaching pitch accent. Dogen is phenomenal. If you want to learn pitch accent, Dogen. Is it worth the money that he charges? I don't know. Whatever Matt is doing with Refold, it's probably amazing. I'm just a fan of teaching Japanese, not teaching you how to learn and not overcomplicating it. That's just that's my gig, right? What's my gimmick? My gimmick is, there is no gimmick. I'm just trying to teach you Japanese. It's the method of just learning Japanese. It's just like too overcomplicating. Like, the way the brain works does this and this. How about you just learn the words? Just learn the words and use them. That's how you learn English, right? And there's a lot of overlap. Do get a lot of input. Without that input, you won't get the right pitch accent. Pitch accent is important to do right, but you don't have to learn pitch accent. You have to earn pitch accent. You have to hear a lot of Japanese and speak a lot of Japanese and evaluate there. But if you hear someone say, "Kyou wa sa, konomae sa, ore sa," you're not gonna go, "Ore sa, konomae sa." You're not gonna do that. Why would you? Why would you imitate the thing you didn't hear? Like if we hear a song, right? Here comes the sun, do 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 do. Are you gonna go, "Here comes the sun, do 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 do"? No, you're gonna be like, "Here comes the sun, do 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 do. Here comes the sun, and I say," you know what I mean? If you hear the song and you have good pitch relatively, you're gonna be able to sing it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be a real idiot to hear a language and not imitate it the way you heard it. This is why I play my wife's sound in videos now. I don't use my voice. I want to make sure you have a native speaker. I think that's one of the greatest things that I like about Matt's thing. He's like, listen to native speakers. Yeah, because that's what Japanese is, regardless of what rules you hear. But to learn pitch accent, to spend all this effort, you're gonna quit Japanese, most likely. Or is it the other way around? People that get interested in pitch accent are into it so hardcore that they'll keep going. I haven't figured this one out yet, right? And I've said this before. This was the book that I studied Japanese with right here. And I actually think it's a really, really fairly bad series. But I'm the kind of guy that got good in Japanese regardless. And most people that get good in Japanese will get good regardless. I don't think there's a lot of people that have the capacity to learn Japanese that didn't do well because of a bad system. I did it with this. Matt did it in his way. Dogen did it in his way. And other people that you know that speak Japanese really well did it in their way. There are people that no matter how good the system is probably won't do it well. There's something about them. It would be disingenuous if I said anybody can speak Japanese. Yeah, it's true. But can anyone get really, really good at it? No. Just like not everyone can get good at math and not everyone can get good at some physical things, right? Like I'm definitely not, I can't do a kickflip ollie. I can ollie, but I can't do a kickflip ollie. No matter how hard I try, I'm not there. Now, that being said, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. If I had a teacher teaching me, yes, I could get kickflip ollie. I feel like I could. And could you master what Dogen's teaching you or what anyone that's teaching? Because there's a lot of people now that do it. That are teaching pitch accent. Yes. But do you need to? No, you don't. Because most of the time, you're going to be, here comes the sun. Ginger Guidance says, I watch a lot of Misa and Miku. Miku's amazing. I love Miku for the record. For JLP help, and that's it really. I knew Misa was going to do well, and I knew Miku was going to do well because they're really good at what they do. But for the record, I hate everybody. I hate everybody that's teaching Japanese, and I even hate myself. I've been re-editing videos recently, and I re-edited the PewDiePie video, and I got it why people didn't watch it. It's like, it's too much. I talk too much. Even now, I'm talking too much. I got to get to the point, but I don't get to the point. So I don't think I'm great either. I don't think anyone's great. Dogen had a very good presentation. His video was really well spoken, the one that I watched. The 5 quick things about pitch accent or something like that. It was good. I just didn't like how his Japanese sounded. That was just me personally. Now, do I like how my Japanese sounds? No, I could be better. I think I'm better when I'm full stride. Has anyone in Japan ever brought up pitch accents to you in casual conversation? Never, not even in advanced conversation. Pitch accent, I only heard about from foreigners. You know what it's like? I saw a TikTok where a guy was wearing one of those like super Asian hats out of Vietnam. The super racist looking hats, right? And he walked around in LA and people were like, that's disgusting, you're culturally appropriating. Everyone was really angry at him. Then he walked around in Chinatown and they're like, oh, great hat. No one was mad about his hat. It's everyone else. It's like mansplaining, right? It's like, I'll tell you what to be offended about when people use things from your culture. It's like that. Only Americans or only like non-Asians are going to be talking about pitch accent. That's how I feel. I really got off of my goal today.